Hello again. Thanks for showing up to What's in My Drawers. Basically, golf talk for old guy that keeps a lot of stuff because we're terrible pack rats. And we get to talk about everything golf club related, golf equipment related, including fittings, repairs, and opinions. All right. Jim McCleary, most worth certified club maker, club fitter. And we're here just to basically talk a lot of golf. Let's get into what was going on this whole weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your Patriot Day weekend. Patriot Day weekend. How about Patriot weekend or even Patriot week? Hopefully you're able to get out. I was able to get out and we played a scramble for the United Way. So we were able to bring in, the tournament brought in about $26,000. So pretty good, right? Pretty good indeed. Secondly, congratulations to Stuart Sink. How about that for the Safeway Open? That guy came out of nowhere. We haven't heard from him for a while. And a notable effort by Doc Redman, who shot a -10. Holy cow. He came unglued in the very end and just absolutely went crazy birdieing just about everything he looked at. So it was definitely not a finish that most of us thought would really show up. So that's pretty good. All right. So let's get down to some stuff here. We are announcing, we'll get it started right now and get it right out of the way. Golf Pride grip giveaway. Golf Pride grip giveaway. It's like she sells seashells down by the seashore. Anyway, so we are, put that down. We are giving away these, right? These. They are MCC4 Plus. I'm sorry, MCC Plus 4 Standards Orange. Right? Might not come out as it's a good looking orange. It's a good looking orange. So we got to thank Golf Pride for working with us yet again for allowing us to give away these grips. All right. And we're going to talk a little bit about Golf Pride because we do a lot of Golf Pride. Okay. A lot of Golf Pride. And we want to give you, so to kind of give you an idea, in the tour season of last year, the tour season, they had 140 worldwide tour victories, with the next closest competitor being 12. So it's you really need to take a look at that. I want to make sure. Yep, we're doing it. As far as it goes, 23 players in the top. Well, let's see. 23 of the top 30 players in the world are playing their grips. They've got an earning of 127.4 million versus the next one is at 6.7. And now here's a little quick one. You guys can put it down there. In the past decade, I'll give you a choice of 4. In the past decade, 10 years, which grip has won more tournaments? The Tour Velvet, the Tour Velvet Cord, the MCC grip, not the 4 Plus, but the regular MCC grip, or the Z grip cord. Which one do you guys think won more? Okay. And here in a little bit, we'll come back to it and I'll tell you. All right. So grips. All right. Now the MCC 4 Plus, as we've talked about these guys before, these have been basically our #1 grip in the shop. And what they did is normally what you had is a grip that started thick and went thin. And what they were finding out was that a lot of the tour guys and a lot of guys here, we were building them up at least 2 layers in this particular portion so that they would fit when they would grab along here. And the tour even more so. And they said, well, why don't we just make the grip so that it does that? And they did it on this particular grip, and it became a just accepted thing across the board. And once this became an accepted thing, they started putting it into other brands or other models, much like the CP2s, the wraps and the tours, which is a regular rubber grip, a little softer. That is a big hit here as well. Lately, what they've been doing is they put it into the Tour Velvet. And that is an excellent feeling grip. I put it on my driver. Didn't think I was going to like it because I've never had a Tour Velvet. And it's a good feeling grip. I really do like it. Now, the latest addition with their aligns is that they're starting to put some align technology in another layer of models so that when you put you here, you can really align your fingers on the grip for whatever it is that you want to do. So these guys are, you know, thanks to Golf Pride again for allowing me to do this. And we'll have to do yet another video on sizing and whatnot. Now, if I can make this happen, you know, everybody, I do get questions on how do you know what the size is. All right, let's see if I can, it's right. I don't know if I can make that, might be too much light. But right, you see where there's a little, right in this neck of the woods? Let's see if I can shield it a little bit. It doesn't look like it's going to show. Anyway, what you can do is you take the top of this, and you can either look in it or you can fold it back. You get it like this, and right along this line, you can just look at it just like that, and it will say 60R, all right? Or it'll say 58R, or most likely, in some cases, 56R. What that means is the 60R means that's a 600 internal core, 0.600, and that's to match up with a 0.600 butt on the shaft. And if they marry up, then whatever this reads on the bottom, whether it be standard, mid-size, jumbo, or whatever, it will be the traditional standard, mid-size, or jumbo. Now, if it's a 58R and you have put it on a 58 club or 58 butt, same thing applies. Okay. 56s are typically relegated to ladies flex type clubs because the grips are smaller. But what if you, long as again, if you're on a 0.560 butt, you put it on a 560 grip, whatever that grip says, it will be a standard size. Okay. Now, if you take a 0.560 core and you go put it on a 600 butt, the grip will be bigger, right? It'll be bigger by anywhere between a quarter and a third of a size. So it might be right in the middle. And you can also go the other way, but then you risk slippage. Now, you're talking about 200ths. What's the odds, particularly if you're using tape? Very small. However, if you're blowing it on, you might want to watch that. And then what happens is when you guys will take tape and you can do buildup, and each kind of tape has its own thickness. So you have to measure that to see how much bigger you're going to make the shaft in order before you put this thing on, in order to determine how big this will be or even small. Now, something that I've done, I don't suggest we do it all the time, but we've done it. And if you need, a person likes these particular standard grips for men, but yet they like a smaller grip, say a men's undersized or even a ladies flex. You can get this here, and you get it really slick with the solvent, and you put it on, and then you stretch it, okay? And you stretch it on there, and then what you do is when you put it on there, you got it stretched, and you hold it, and you give it a count, maybe 20, 30, and then you let go, and it normally sticks. And that's making it, and what you're doing is you're stretching it, makes it thinner. Now, I don't say do that all the time. I would much rather that you use the right size, obviously, because that's what you call proper club making. However, in a pinch, that's what you can do. So what we're going to, again, if you're seeing it across the bottom, you're going to be picked at random. Okay. You're going to be picked at random. Mrs. McGall, I'm looking at her right over there, and she's on the outside on the range, and she's going to pick out whoever's here with us today. All right, we're going to pick it. So you got to stay there till the end, and then we'll announce your name. And what you do is you send us your name, your address to McGolfshop at clubmaker. I'm sorry, McGolfshop at roadrunner.net. Jeez, oh Pete. How about McGolfshop at roadrunner.com? And then we will send these things out to you. So it ought to be a good thing. All righty. Again, otherwise, if you would, two things: like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to see more of what we're doing, follow us in the shop. All right, onward to some club stuff. These are the last two that I have, and they're Mizuno ST200 Fairway woods. This is the 3, and this is a 3 also, but this is the tour model. And what makes it different? That. Basically, this is an adjustable club where this is not. And I'm getting ready to build them for clubs to be sold. I don't have them sold. If any one of you guys might be interested, there they are. I just opened a box from Acra, and I have a 72 regular and a 72 stiff, and I believe a 62 regular fairway wood shafts. So these are fairway wood shafts designed to go in those guys right there, and they're black, and it goes right into black. It's actually very cool looking. So we'll do that. All right. Again, remember we talked about Mizuno, right? We talked about Mizuno, and I got the heads, and so I wanted to show you again. This guy here is the raw finish, and you're like, well, what's the difference, Jim? Well, if I had the other one, the raw is a little more dark in its appearance. I do dig on this particular grind because there's some heel and there's some toe relief, but it's wide enough to really be good for a 5610. And they've got tons of different loft options. I just like that one. All right, but new to this system is the JPX 921 and in the wedge. Okay, there we go, in the wedge. And what they've done is this would probably be the only one that really strays from the JPX design. You'll see that it's got a little bit of a chrome lining in order to make the sole look smaller, but it's a fairly wide sole, fairly easy to see. All right, fairly easy to see. It's a very inviting wedge. It's got a big old toe. There we go, big toe. A lot of meat down here at the bottom to get up in the air. Like I said last time, I don't see them being a problem, so that was very good. And then for the reveal, I will say that Mizuno has nuclear grade plastic when they put them on these clubs. Holy smokes. And of course, this is the last one with plastic on it. And for those of us with no fingernails, a bit of a struggle. There we go. There it is. All righty. We'll start at the top and work our way down. The hot metal. JPX 921 hot metal. Kind of a big sole, right? And they put that on there. See how the chrome gives it the smaller sole look when it's in the bag? Now, this is the one that's probably going to have the most offset. Look at right here. It doesn't look like much from here. There it is. There's a little bit right there. Top line for Mizuno's thick, but they've also chromed it to try and make it look small. Now, what they've done is in the last one, it was all about the toe. It was all about the toe. And this one, what they did is they made the toe not so pronounced, and they threw a little bit of chrome accent in there. And I believe it's actually a degree stronger too than last year. So not too bad. Going into the next, they really haven't changed the names. They just changed the look. Now, what they've gone into is this chromoly 414, and they're starting to forge with chromoly. But this is the Hot Metal Pro. I foresee this one being a tough nut right here. It's the hot metal blade. It's the hot metal, thicker sole length or sole width, but with a lot less offset. All right, a lot less offset. Good looking face. It's smaller than the hot metal, and it still has some depth to it. Easy to look down upon, right? And you notice there's not a lot of offset on that guy. And we did very well with these, but surprisingly, we did better. Holy cow! I got another one. We did better with these guys in a lot of cases. I suppose I would have had this taken off. Here we go. Yeah, it's better this time. The JPX Forged. The JPX Forged. You can tell because it says so right there. You notice how there's all these little extra shiny highlights. It gives it a much neater, more rich look to it. Again, now we're getting back into the thin top lines again that Mizuno is known for. Very, very little, if any, offset that's on it. And there's your traditional sole that they've been trying to protect. Still has a deeper cavity, as you can see. And if I remember correctly, what they do on this one is they forge this product and then they cut a line down in here so that they can run a mill and mill the back of the face as thin as they can. Then they cover it back up and then finish it up to looking like that. So there is a lot of technology going on in this as far as being able to work the metal, right? And then finally, what everybody wants to know, because this is what you're probably going to see in the bags of a lot of folks on tour, is the tour model. All right. The tour model of last year was very boring. Very traditional lofts, meaning very strong, and extraordinarily thin top line, and no offset, basically none. A good-looking club, very, very nice look. You see how it reflects there in the middle? I think it's just going to be a really, really good club, but it's also made for the higher swing speeds, the better ball strikers. This one is, if related as in Chris Vauchal said, last year, this is basically an MP and JPX clothing. So you got to be a ball striker. You know, our buddy Brian and his brother probably end up liking that very much. We'll see. Now, lefties out in the house, I hope. They made a select. They made another one. It's kind of a combination of the tour, right? Still pretty good meat on the bottom. Thin top line. Almost very little offset, to be sure. Sole width is not butter knife, but it is fairly thick. Traditional lofts, forged club for certain, and it is the grain flow forged in HD. Going to be traditional lofts, but for lefties. And that's the SEL. They call it the Select right there. I call it Special Edition left-handed. Now, what they will do is they're going to start in the 4 and they'll go down to the gap wedge. So they're actually going to have a gap wedge in that model and in another. I have to figure out which one that is. But gap wedge in these models is going to be a huge bonus, huge bonus. All right. And again, lefties, hot metal iron. All right. And that's all I got. Okay. So there's all my news and stuff for the day. And we made it around. Let's see what we got for comments. I'm up to 75 already. Holy moly. Let's get to the top of this stuff and see who got on here first. All right. Rob made it on this time. What do you say, Rob? All right. Shaft is busted inside the eyes. We'll break out the drill and get that sucker out. That's right. Now, Rob, the other part is if you ever go out and you get into some of the automotive or big tool areas, get you some easy outs. You can hit them in there and you put them in there and you twist them the other way and pull them out. The other one that works really, really good and is the Golfworks broken shaft puller. It's basically a set of cutters that if you were threading the inside of a hole, it catches it and it catches hard, but the back end of it is threaded, so a washer lands on it, screw it down, it pulls itself out. Very, very cool. All right, what shafts would I recommend for the Titleist? Phil, this is, man, all the way to Scotland. Here we go. Titleist 690 MBs. They have 300 shafts, but rust spots are appearing. Alrighty, so let's go with what little bit. Scotland, you want to play the ball down a little bit out of the wind, so you don't want it flying too high. Some of my faves are, I would have said the Modus 120. They have, because those are taper tip shafts or taper tip heads. Modus 120, if you want it to feel a little softer, or if you're still in the S300 range, I would look at the KBS Tour. So what it is, the 300s are a little boardy, particularly if they're dynamic golds, and they tend to give you this kind of a flight, where the KBS tend to go up, flat, come back down. They get through the air better, right? And again, my opinion, and from what little time I spent over there, but I would certainly look at that. Now, if you're looking to air it out and make it get a little higher, I would look at the Modus. All right. There's Phil. Let's see. Josh Luna. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I think I showed you guys last week. I was working on a what was it, a big Bertha iron, and it had a bore through in it. And it wasn't a real bore through, although they can call it as such. There was a hole that went through the head, but the shaft didn't penetrate through the club. And it stopped, and they put that little fake bubble on it. Well, there's a tip weight in it. And as I'm drilling out this tip weight, it grabbed, and it grabbed whatever was down there. It grabbed it and pulled that whole mess clean out, and it warbled out the hole. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I started looking, I was kind of filing it, trying to thin it out. Maybe I could get away with putting a tip pin in it, but I could never get it to the original shape. And so that one cost me. So I called Callaway and asked them if they had a 4-iron, and it's a lefty in a club it's not in production. They had one. They had one with a recoil in it. And I said, send it. And so they did. They sent it, and I took it apart and put it back in the shaft that he wanted. So that was a costly error for something that I knew existed, but for some reason it got caught at the bottom, and it just spun clean out. And I was like, oh, well, never again on that one. So I know better. But that one's pretty good. I finally got caught up on our fittings. Hey, so for instance, this weekend, I want to talk about a fitting real quick, and we'll do this. How about fitting? There we go. I fit it was a kind of a wild ride of folks. There was a young man who's a left-hander, probably plays to a 0, and got him figured out. And then it was funny because, you get when players, for you guys that are doing fitting, or you guys get this low, the next guy played to about a 6, and he was wanting a gap and loft, or a gap and lie session. And I'm like, well, why? And he says, well, I push everything I've got. I said, oh, okay. And we were looking, well, he's got a loop in his swing. And he's got a loop in his swing because his clubs are too long. I said, you ever been fit for length? And he says, no. And okay. So we do some lie angle testing, and we talk about two things. His grip was very, very weak, which created the push. And then the clubs were too long, which means he was making this move to compensate for the added length. As soon as I got him choked down, as soon as I got him, and just a little, and it's not like that. It's just little tweaks. And next thing you know, he's drilling it down the middle, and he gained a club because the quality of hit went skyrocketing because of the shorter length. So he now knows. We made some marks, and now he knows. And finally, one of the fun ones is we had a 14-year-old in here, just ate up with it. And 14-year-olds, they're okay. But this guy was the typical tweener, just swinging like he couldn't get any more of it. And but he was a real short cat. But he was swinging right at the very bottom of the regular range. So that in itself presents a problem of its own, because tweener clubs are normally going to be too long. Ladies' clubs are going to be too long and not stiff enough. So we have our work cut out for us when it gets out there. So that's going to be something else. All righty, let's go back. Here we go. Henry, how you say, bud? Shot my low scorer with an 80, missed a 12-foot putt on 18 for 79. I feel your pain, dude. I feel your pain. I have been there, and I can't tell you how many times I've been there. But you know what? You put yourself on a spot to make it happen, and that's the important part, because now And I will tell you what happened to me when I got to this particular point. I was using the goal of breaking 80. And when you get to 80, breaking 80 is just seems, you're one shot away and you can make all the excuses in the world. Now what I go out and I say is that I'm going to par every hole. And you would believe, and you go out there with a mindset of saying, I'm going to par every hole, because you obviously got skill sets to get out there. Just put it in your mind. You just walk up and you're confident as all get out. I'm going to par every hole, and you watch what happens. It'll be pretty impressive, I have to say. You watch what happens. Matt, what's going on? No rounds again? Kids soccer times. There you go. There you go. How many scrambles or fundraisers? Normally, I don't get invited. Normally, I just don't get invited to these things. It's really funny. I either have my own team or I don't get invited, just because I'm really not known as a player. However, with this last, went on a golf trip with a bunch of buddies I haven't been out for, and I was hitting it pretty good, and I got invited to this one. And next week I'm playing at the Shriners, which is a humongous tournament next weekend. They'll be stacked up 2 and 3 teams deep. It's just that popular. It makes a fortune, and that's good because it goes to a good cause. I got invited to that one, and then 2 weeks later I got invited to another one for veterans. As soon as they said veterans, I was in, so it didn't matter. So this will be I'll be maxed out this time at 4 going on 5. And I do like playing it, but it is, like you guys know, it is a different it's a different setup, because you're just out there to hit it far, and then all of a sudden you got to get really specific, and that's not that's not real golf, but it's fun. How you doing, Dave from Michigan? Luke's in from Champaign. Yes, it is very nice. It's nice out here. It's sun shining. They said it's supposed to be high in the 80s, low in the high 50s, low 60s. I mean, I'm good with that all the time. All right. Our boy Phil probably sees that quite a bit. There you go. Me too, Rob. Me too. Here's a question. What's your second grip company? Mr. Joe, how are you from Leeds? Thank you again for taking all that time to stay up late and watch us. Tour Velvet Cord, close but not quite, Matt. We're getting there. As soon as I get down here, we'll be there. Rob, Tour Velvet. Here we go. Tour Velvet Cord by Luke. Tour Velvet Cord. Tiger plays it. Yes, he does, but it's not the most popular. Not the one with the most wins. Hey, there you are, Willard. Thank you for coming again. Frank thinks Velvet Cord. Uh, 10 to 15. Wow. Nice. Jack is back. Welcome, buddy. All righty. So before we keep going, I'm going to tell you what the number was. All right. In the past decade, Tour Velvet has 607 wins. Tour Velvet Cord has 170. I would have thought the other way too, guys. MCC has 240. That's pretty interesting. And the Z Grip has 58. I don't think the Z Grip's been around 10 years, so that's a heck of a start. So I'm all about that. Well done. All right, Alex, he's from Australia. Again, Alex, thank you for staying on so late, man. All right, when I grip my clubs, I try to make them all the same size, but for me, it often means 2 tapes on wedges, 1 on irons, none on the woods, due to shaft size. Should I? Again, Alex, what it depends on is what the shaft sizes are. When you say, 2 tapes on wedges, typically anymore, wedges are a 0.61 size. So they will actually be slightly bigger, right? And if you're using, we'll just say standard on standard, that when you put 2 on there, you're getting very close to mid-size. or one, I'm sorry, you're just making it slightly larger, not big. You're making the wedges slightly larger than that, even with the larger butt size. Now that might not be necessarily a bad thing because wedges as a whole are finesse clubs, and you really don't want to be squeezing down on the club, and a slightly larger grip might help you do with what you want to do, particularly if you're dead handing. Right, if you're dead handing, it's probably pretty good. And then on the woods, in some cases the woods do run a little bit. The standard 600 is, it's out there, but you normally see some 620s and things like that. That would be very, very close to your irons, but your wedges will be slightly bigger. And again, you know what? Just because you hear everybody doing the same size, but this works for you, if it works, go with it. Oof. Big hands, Rob. Big hands. Camilo's back. Dude, we have been busy again. I'm kind of digging on it. We kind of off topic. We ended up getting one of those battery operated Dysons, and I actually went through the shop and cleaned up. It's pretty much the cleanest it's ever been. Imagine that. So we're trying to get through. I'm waiting. Does any of you guys machinists know anything about an end mill? Should I be running it at a high speed or at a low speed? Because that's what I got to do when I make these things ready for my all those Mizunos I showed you. I've got to cut them and mill them, and I'm waiting on a couple of end mills from MSC, and the last ones I used, I basically wore out because they were used when I started. So I'm going to start clean. If any of you guys are machinists or know that answer, let me know. Good, 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 good. Here's Brandon. How you doing, Brandon? Mid-size tour. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. The brush cords. Brush cords are very, very nice. I should have held fire. Oh, here we go. I don't know. As far as the guys, what the guys get on tour, from what I saw, I've been on the tour van a couple of times now, and honestly, I when they bring the box in, it doesn't say anything special like tour edition or anything like that. It's just that if they're on the tour vans and you don't get them out here, it means they're making them in limited quantities. But you're getting. I'm sure what they're seeing is probably something that may have passed an extra QA. They're not making a more high quality grip per se, just one that's probably a little more consistent in its thickness. Um, and you would be surprised. I can tell you as another story for this. When Colin Montgomery was on the tour, we were in the rifle trailer and we put a set of tour velvets on. He went through the set and touched them all and threw two back and said they were too small. And we were like, there's no way. And we mic'd them both, and yes, they were. They were a hundredths, yeah, 1/100th too small at the marks where when you measure them, 100th, and he felt that. So we took them off and put two new ones back on, mic'd them down, made sure they're all good to go, and he had it. So that was the kind of touch that guy had. And you can just imagine some of the other people that are a little touchy-er when it comes to that kind of stuff. The launch capital, Merritt Island. All right. Thank you, Al. Closest I ever got was at the one next to Cocoa Beach, that down in that neck of the woods. Our submarine pulled in there, and we had to stop and pick up some oil. Nice place down there. Their new three. Hello there, sir. Mike Lang, what's going on? Well, thanks, Rodney. Kurt's in. Thank you. Mid-size and color. Bo, they make a gray, but I'm looking. Maybe Mrs. McGolf. I'm trying to get her attention, but I'm on a delay with her as far as it gets to her. I think the blue comes in a mid-size, and that's about it. You think that the red would being one of the more popular colors, but I'm pretty sure the blue does. So maybe she'll be able to answer. Are they limited to the U.S. only, or are they going to post worldwide? No, we can go worldwide. We've had so what we've had is that when we've done these giveaways before, we do them we make a video of it, and when we make the video of it, we get this random number generator, and we get a number and down we go. And what we've done we've sent some to Scotland, and we've sent some to, it was either Ireland or it was a another, maybe even further up, maybe into Norway. So yeah, they'll be going out. Brought from Raleigh. Yes, we did, buddy. We get a little bit behind it. High toe wedges. You know what? High toe wedges. I tend to like them. People look at them and they get freaked out about the shape when they shouldn't be looking at the shape as so much as that. Look at all that extra real estate that you can hit and or miss on. Okay. I know everybody, when they think high toe, the first thing that most folks will think of is Phil Mickelson and him flopping these wedges because that's what he carries. And those are actually very low percentage shots, very low. And you have to practice those for them to become higher percentage shots. And you really have to work on that. Now, Wilson has got a high toe. You've seen Finch and Shields work on him, and they didn't give him low marks or anything. They just was kind of blasé about it, but they said that they would work. So if they're going to work, fine. I mean, it's a good club. They said Callaway's got one. Yep, they do, and they're probably the most known of them. And now TaylorMade's got them. Sure does, and they're a little bit more heel toe relieved, and they're a good one as well. The and there's one more company out there that does it, and and I think they're very versatile. Don't be afraid to hit them. I mean, they're big, but it's not necessarily the face that's that important as it is the sole and the bounce, right? If you're a picker and you get these really wide soles, you're going to hate those things. You don't need all that. But if you're a divot taker, man, oh man, you're going to really like these things. And if you want to be fancy around the greens, I like calling it artistic, then look for the one that has a lot of relief and quite a bit of bounce so you can flop that guy open and get underneath of it. So yeah, I mean, I do like it. Look at that. She did see me. I don't know if she saw me, but she answered it. That's a fact, Brandon. And I've got the 50, 56, and 60 in mine, and that's sitting right over there. And I got red, white, and blue shafts for my veteran thing. And the first one is the family wedge I got it stamped for all the people in the family. And then the next one was my golf wedge, which is for celebrating the number of top 100s I got. And then the last one was my service wedge, it's got the name of the submarine I served on it. And it's in blue. So I thought that was kind of appropriate. Yes, they do. And the blue iron is kind of cool. I'm not a fan because I don't think it's very tough, but the tour satin is what I like. All right, Rodney, I'm looking to replace its broken and Acura FX260 stiff shaft for my Ping. I'm looking for lower cost options. Do you have any suggestions? Well, the 2.0, that's the red. Is it the red or is it the yellow? Yeah, it's either red or yellow, right? It's not going to be blue. And if it's a red, I would think you could find something probably in the Riptide if they have a fairway wood shaft, something along that line. You got to keep in mind that if it's in the 7 wood, you have a specific fairway wood shaft. Okay. So you have to go, in order for it to be apples to apples kind of concept, not go get a driver shaft and cut it down, is go find a fairway wood shaft. And what you're looking for in that one, if it's in red, you're looking for the same comparable weight with what I would call a medium torque, okay, meaning around the 3.5 range 3 and with a little bit of lower balance point and kick. If it was in the yellow, just the opposite. It's a little higher, a little stiffer, a little less torque, and maybe just a tad heavier. As far as shafts that provide that, as far as fairway wood shafts, that's a hard sell because I'm not aware of very many that do that. So you'd have to take a hard look at that one. Now, if you wanted to go for just lower cost and stay in the Acra line, you could go to the I Series. The I Series has a very, very good fairway wood shaft for that particular model, and it will do very, very well. We sell a lot of those just based on the price, just as you were telling. Okay. Yep. You know, I always wondered why the Tour Velvets didn't come in like red or some derivation thereof. You see them, they do all kinds of different colors. Why not? Yeah, that's no good. So how about Seward Sink, man? That dude, old fella, there you go. Gotcha, buddy. Oh, listen to her. Warren, how are you from England, sir? We are thank you again for watching. Good night. I went a little bit too far. Where'd we go? All right. Well, thank you for saying that, Brandon. What is the best way to keep swing weight constant through your set? I play the mid-size on tour van and don't want to use lead. The best way personally is to take the heads off and put tip weights in them. That way they don't look bad and they have the same weights in them across the board. And that would be the way to go. Now you could try, there is kind of a cheater method to do it and getting some lead tape and just right above the hosel and put it around that. If you don't want to put it on the head, you might try it there. It definitely has a different feel for sure. But the very most right way is take it apart, put some lead weight in the tip, and then make it happen. Well, it might be the most popular grip in sales. I don't know about 57 major wins, but they have a lot for sure. Speed depends on material. Did I miss something? Oh, here. Brandon, thank you, sir. That's pretty damn cool. How did I get? But thank you. Thank you. Let's see. I missed. Geez, oh, Pete, I look back and everybody's answering. There we go. All righty. There's my buddy from Sweden. He made it on. Well done, man. All right. Long time. Do you have any recommendations for building a good shaft selection wood? How to decide to stock? All right, TJ, this is kind of we'll call it a business decision. Okay. So it depends on, number one, you got to know what type of If you're just talking about shaft selections for stocking to build, okay, I'm very spoiled in the fact that I have GolfWorks an hour and 45 minutes away, and virtually get next day shipping for regular. So we don't stock a lot of shafts. Okay, we just don't do it. Acra or True Sports now, they are 6 hours to our north and have been very, very good about getting things here in a couple of days. So I have access to, and if I really, really need to get something that can't go, I can reach out to Colorado and get something from KBS. So everything I have is within just a couple of days. So keeping stock for me does not make very much sense. Now, if you're super rural and don't have access or might have to wait, having a lot of stock can be a good thing if you're high volume, and it can be a bad thing if you are. It can be a bad thing if you're not. So you really want to take a look at that. But in order to evaluate something like that, is you got to go around to your local areas if you're going to do it locally, and just see what types of players are out there. Just ask them what kind of stuff do they prefer, and then what do you prefer, right? Because they're going to ask you for recommendations. What do you prefer to work with? I mean, some guys are very comfortable with Fujikura. Some guys are very comfortable with the True Temper products. Some guys are very good with the Pedersen. Some guys are with Acra. They're just a plethora of places to look for. Uh, that's with mostly graphite. Now in irons, you're relegated to basically three. I think three really good ones, and that would be KBS, Modus, and then you have the True Temper product. Those are the big three. And True Temper also has the rifles, so you can include them. There are others out there, but they're quite pricey. You know, I've been asked that one before, and the answer is I don't think so. I know you can adjust it, but I don't think you can remove it. And the real question is, I don't know why you would. Wichita, Kansas. I forgot to say that. Very good. Very cool. I will only be doing that if they send them to me, and I do intend on asking them to send me some demos. So hopefully that does that. Yep, easy outs, Rob. They're very, very cool. If he cut will it make the club 1 inch flat? I got to think about this one again. I always get those backwards. If you take an inch off and you bring it closer, it the club itself will become a little more upright, I think. Because if you take it and you're here and let's say you cut off an inch and you bring it in, it's going to go like it's going to come in. I can see where you're getting that from. Let me try and let's use this. So if this is standard and you just cut an inch off of here, what that means is that you've now gotten it centered, so you probably make it go like that. So yeah. So let's do flat as opposed to keeping it the same and going up. There you go. Now keep in mind that yes, you're taking an inch off. That's an effective number. The lie angle is still the lie angle, right? It's just how you approach when you do it. Not with the Neo, bud. Not with the Neo. The 950 GHs, yes, but not the other ones. They're a higher ball flight, very smooth feeling, but in any of that stuff, what it's going to do is produce a high ball flight because the 950s are all butt soft. And that's just what's going to happen. If you're stuck, the butt ends can be driven into the shaft to use the same way. If you're talking about removing a head or adding some. If you're stuck, the butt end handle side can be driven into the shaft and used the same way as quick outs. Not sure what a quick out is. Kent, I'd like to know more about what you're talking about here, because it sounds like we're talking about either swing weighting or removing a shaft. Ah, okay. So then, yeah, it's going to be up. That I find, if at 950 the Neo is the number one, I would be, wow, I don't know. That would be impressive to say the least. But they do hit the ball pretty high, so very good. But in the file, okay, that makes way more sense. I get it now. There he is. He made it in. He's another one from England. We've got more folks coming in from England. Very well done, and thank you. I have sold one. I have sold them. The Acrotour Z's. In fact, I've got one. I've got one sitting right over here. That was in my club. I have the M4, and I really, really like them. They're very, very stable. They've been replaced by TZs, and the TZ, they have one that's got a higher torque number, but still remaining stiff to give you a better feel, but a lower flight. It's really, the way they've designed it's very, very cool. But yeah, I do like the Tour Z's, and it's for a guy that's quite the hell of a ball striker. It is quite the heck of a shaft, for certain. Okay, Rob, that is a good one, and I do have a hot melt gun, so we'll try that. Currently hit my iron straight, but the strike location is towards the heel. Anything I could do to change the hit from the center? Thanks. Well, again, Stephen, it kind of depends on your irons that you're hitting, but if you're into the heel, again, and that's kind of when I was talking earlier about the low handicapper, that's what he was in. He was into the heel. You might try, just for the sake of trying, is choking down about a half of an inch, and not just one or two hits, a good 10 to 15 hits, and see if that doesn't. And when you do that, don't take a hit regular and then just choke down and then go do it. You walk up to it choking down and then reset yourself. You'll be surprised what happens. Brendan, well done, sir. Thank you from Ireland. I think that was just asked. So yeah, I got to open another door. The dogs can find their way out, but they can't find, or they'll find their way in, but they can't find their way out. Okay, you got some of the new Wish-Ons? Well, then there you go, right? So what did you think? Did they feel softer? Because they look like they would play softer than the original ones, or how did they feel? Did they feel pretty good? Let me know down here in the bottom. And what did you put in them? And what were the shafts that went in them? That would be it. Michigan, thank you, Scott. Dan Mullins. Welcome back. Welcome in, Dan. Thank you. Dan was one of my playing buddies when we went to Kentucky. The head, okay. Want to feel more control in the hands with the irons. Tested just tape, 80 grams, but to the butt end, it felt good. The heads did not feel too light. I just found a tour lock. There you go. And that'd be the way to do it, right? The tour lock, or they call them balance certified, but the tour locks are probably a little more commercially available. And 80 grams is that's quite a bit, but you've been swinging pretty aggressively. So an aggressive swinger would like some back weighting for sure. I think that would work out very, very well. And you can get it. The other thing I've been working on here as of late is setting the club more in my fingers and less into the hands, more out here. And that's been helping a lot of control as well. But you are the professional. I am the club guy. All right. How do you fit the different length without having 1,000 shafts? Well, you see this back here? Right there. Those guys right there? Those are my length fitting shafts right there. And there's probably 15. All right. And we're just talking about length. Okay. We're just talking about length. So when you're testing for length, same head, same shaft, same grip, same flex, same everything, just different length. And you'd be surprised if you go standard and you go about an inch to an inch and a half one way, an inch to an inch and a half the other way. You have 6 or 7 heads, 6 or 7 shafts. And that's the righties. Same thing with the lefties. And if you want to go a little shorter for the ladies, then you can do the same thing. So you're down to 21. And then with the driver, I would stay with one driver type and just go to like 43 inches and work your way up to 45 and a half, 46. And then only on an occasion where, like what happened to us, we had an NBA player come in here. And so I had to build a couple extras. I built a 40-inch 5-iron to test. Yeah, it was pretty big. And then that way you don't have all of that. And then in the driver, you can use the club connects. Now you can do the same thing with the club connects and save the price on the head, but when it gets into the irons, if you don't need a real fancy iron, you can just get anything you want. I normally go down to the Golf Works and just find out what they have that's on their clearance, and we'll use that. And I've just recently upgraded, and we have some nice KEs and some other tour heads. So they do look nice and they feel good, and that way you don't have a whole lot involved in it, because those heads are pretty much the equivalent of a shaft connector. So that's the reason why I just went with the head, so they're on all the time. All right. Dang. Well done, man. Well done, Joe. Net 64. I bet that was what was the second and first place? Holy smokes. Yes, it would. I would put it in and cut the hole, put it in the grip, especially if it felt good. It is probably the best way to get that weight in there and for it to look neat, right? For it to look neat. And that's really what you're looking for. Scotland, yay! Here's another one. I'm telling you, we got to get back there. It's only 11 p.m. For you young guys that like staying up late, Kent. That's very, very cool. And again, guys, thank you for staying up that late to do that. All right, second main grip is Lambkin and Pure. Okay, that's cool. We do a lot of, outside of Golf Pride being number one for us, we do a lot of Win. We'll go through Win, and surprisingly, Jumbo Max is our second out there. Yes, he is. He is the local Dan. We'll call him that from now on. There you go, rib grips. Do they? I never really, the Pure grips I always thought would be pretty cool, but you'd have to get the Tour Velvety ones. Their wrap sites always felt were a little slick. If you increase loft, you open the face. And there's Brandon again. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. Yeah, we did that one. Okay, now I'm front. All that was in front of you. Somehow I got down to the bottom. I'm gonna have to get her to, let's see if I can throw something at the window. Need to pick. Need to pick. Pick. Need to come around and pick. Okay, here we go. Brandon, again, thank you so much. We did that one. I know I threw a pin at it just to get it out there. So here we are, South Africa, Denver. All right, sir. Look, is that rugby outfit I see on there?
It's 6:30.
I know, it's 6:30. She's picking very technical. She closed her eyes and threw it out there.
Rodney Pelletier.
All right. Rodney Pelletier? I believe he's the one from Australia. We're sending him out, Rodney. Rodney Pelletier. I believe that's the way she's pronouncing it. So you have become the proud owner of these guys. Just give us a email, mcgolfshop@roadrunner.com, and we will get them out there. All righty. So he has a high ball flight. Let's see. You have a Cobra utility. Have a high ball flight set even to 18 degrees, currently fitted with an S shaft. Any recommendations to get the flight lower? Well, typically, if this is your picture and you look like a strong fella, you very well might find out that the S shaft might not be enough. If you're swinging very, very hard at it, you're probably getting a little more flex. And maybe get your swing speed analyzed and see if that's not the right shaft for you. And you might need to be going into the X flex, okay, and in that particular one. Now, it also could be that the club might be a little too light, okay, and a little heavier might help you out with that. Here we go. Yes, it is. It's the high toe. It's the Phil PM is the Phil Mickelson grind, and I've got one as well. I should have put a lighter shaft into it. Good deal. Here we go. I slipped down here. I am, Brandon. I can get in the pond. Just like I was telling the guy earlier, they're out of Chicago, and it's just, yes, we can get stuff. Very much, sir, it is. You could have had it bent, but if a half inch is more comfortable, fine. And then with the back weight, I like back weighting putters because it slows down that. And I'd say, yeah, have at it. All right, couple more, guys. We're getting really close. All right, they definitely have a softer feel. We'll say the Sterlings plus a. Yeah, see, that's the part I thought. I thought they did a really good job with this. And I do like the appearance of them. It's cleaner, in my opinion. It's not as clickish. I guess is that a proper description? But I do like the way that it looks. I think more people are going to like it. Oh, okay, very good. Yeah, it's 11 p.m., Camilio. I'm with you, dude. Robin will take a look. All right. Very much so. Thank you, sir. First was 63, second was 64, but better. I get it. Very good. Okay, Ruben. Here we go. Last one for the day. Shaft puring. All right. Shaft puring is a way to make the golf club more consistent. Out here, it is kind of a 50-50 split. There are people that will not live without it, and there's people who could care less. If you're up on your game where you're looking for that next thing to tweak and that next thing to try and figure out what to do, that could be it. Now, Spine and Flow is like the analog version of the puring digital way of getting it done. If you have somebody that's nearby that could do that, you might have them just spine and align one and then just see if it does work better. And then you can check it out. But for lack of a better term, it will make something more consistent. And if your game supports that, then yes. If your game is not there, then I wouldn't sweat it too much. That was the Garson grip, Dan. It was the Garson grip. It was their the big. They call it the Max. All righty, guys. We went a little bit far. Went just 4 minutes over this time, but as usual, again, Australia, England, Ireland, Scotland, Colombia, all over the U.S. Guys, thank you for taking the time to look at it. Thank you, Golf Pride, for being part of that. We'll take this one off. Here we go. There it are. There we go. And hopefully you guys learn a little something. Honestly, I don't have a video prepared for tomorrow. So if you guys have any more ideas on anything, put them in the show notes when this thing pops up. Don't forget to like it. And as usual, let's see your scores go low.